A lot of chefs dream of opening their own restaurant, and for most chefs, it's the biggest mistake you could ever make because running a restaurant can cost you your life savings, your family, your health, and you're not even going to have fun doing it because running a restaurant has nothing to do with executing your culinary vision. The good news is these days there's a much better way for you to make your mark in the culinary world that doesn't come with any of the risks and headaches of owning a restaurant. Let's start by going over why opening a restaurant is such a bad idea. To open even a small restaurant, you're looking at a couple $100,000 in startup costs on the low end. And if you're in a major city, you can expect that number to be much higher. And if you are able to come up with the money to open your restaurant, then there's the matter of putting together a staff to run your restaurant because you cannot run a restaurant by yourself. And you have to have enough money to pay these people for at least 3 to 6 months because your restaurant is not going to be profitable from the very beginning. But you still got to make payroll every week. Even if you have the money, attracting quality people to the hospitality industry has become way more difficult than it used to be because the world has changed, but the restaurant industry hasn't. The best and brightest, hard-working young people who used to enter the hospitality industry as part of their career journey now have much better options available to them, and this is something that doesn't get talked about a lot. In the social media era, a smart, hard-working young person can get good at Instagram or TikTok, and now they can be a social media manager who you have to pay to run your social media accounts. Or they can become a food influencer who you have to pay to come to your restaurant and make a post about your food. That social media manager or food influencer is who you used to be able to hire to work in the front of the house. Now they can make way more money without having to deal with the hard work and long hours standing on their feet that comes with working in a restaurant. And now we're in the AI era where there's even more ways for the best and brightest young people who have a work ethic to make money. So who is going to work in your restaurant? That's something that you have to figure out before you even begin thinking about opening a restaurant. In the year 2000 and prior, the hospitality industry had access to a lot of hardworking young people that it doesn't have access to now. Now those young people can make way more money from doing way less work with a laptop or just their smartphone. So the pool of high quality talent available to the hospitality industry is just getting smaller and smaller because of all the opportunities that the internet provides. But restaurants are still operating like it's 1990 and the internet doesn't exist. You're not competing against other restaurants for the best people. You're competing against the internet, and that's not a competition you're going to win. I cannot emphasize enough how important your staff is to being able to run a restaurant and how difficult it is these days to find quality staff. If you don't know what a nightmare this is, you need to talk to some restaurant owners before you even think about trying to open a restaurant. Something that a lot of chefs don't understand is that running a restaurant has nothing to do with cooking or your passion for food. Ask any chef who owns a restaurant. Running a restaurant is 90% business and 10% food, and not understanding this is exactly why so many chefs open restaurants that end up failing. And then there's the matter of the insane hours that you'll be working as a restaurant owner. All those hours will take a toll on your personal life. Your kids will grow up without you because you're always at work. Your marriage will suffer and you may lose it. And you may get married again and lose that marriage too for the exact same reason, because you're never at home. And your body will absolutely suffer from years and years of standing on your feet for 80 hours a week and all the other physical demands that come with restaurant life. And if you think I'm exaggerating about any of this or making it sound worse than it really is, that just means you haven't talked to any chefs who've been in the industry for 20 years or longer, which is another reason why you should not be thinking about opening a restaurant. There's a whole lot about running a restaurant that I haven't covered here, and for all of that, I'm going to refer you to the Chef's PSA podcast, and specifically this episode with Chef James Trees. Here's a couple of clips from it.
That's the first part of it. The thing that in this business that has changed in the last 5 years is labor cost. Labor cost is more of a kind of like noose than people realize, because you want to have about 12% back of the house labor, right? That's really where you're going for. You really want to have it dialed in where your prime cost is about 65%. If you can do that, then you're going to be in a good spot, because you can't really not make money if you're hitting a 65% prime cost. Right. And this is stuff that we don't talk about we talk about as operators, because like when you get around chefs, they're like, oh man, my food cost is 19%. You get around chefs, they're like, I'm using this great product. This is badass. Like, right. Yeah. You get around operators and they're like, hit a prime cost of 67. We're killing it.
Right. And for people that don't understand because we always talk labor cost, we always talk food costs. Can you explain what prime costs are for people that?
So prime cost is sales divided by sales divided by the combination of food costs and labor costs, and benefits and manager salaries. So all of that in one column, you hit that number, which is considered also, it's a percentage or it's considered gross profit, because then you take out operating supplies, then you take out rent and occupancy and all that stuff. And so that comes off, and then you end up with an EBITDA, which is, theoretically where you want to be in the positive. And one of the things I've learned about chefs is chefs do not write budgets to make money. They write, like when we write ideas for restaurants, we're always like, man, we're going to break even. Like, that's a terrible business model. Like, this is the thing about restaurants, is they are a terrible business model and we need to do better.
There's a whole lot more to that conversation that you really want to check out. I'll put a link in the description box to the full episode, because culinary school doesn't tell you anything about the realities of being a working chef. The Chef's PSA podcast fills in that reality gap, and it will help you avoid making some serious mistakes in your life as a chef. But it's not all bad. Being a chef is a fantastic profession these days because of all the other ways you can earn your living as a chef, besides working endless hours in a restaurant. Remember when I said the restaurant industry has not adapted to the internet? The internet has created all kinds of challenges for the industry, but it's also created all kinds of new opportunities for chefs. YouTube has been the #1 TV streaming platform in U.S. households for the last 3 years. That means if you have a cooking show on YouTube, you have a cooking show on TV. YouTube has also paid over $100 billion to YouTube channel owners between 2021 and 2025. That means YouTube is a huge business opportunity for chefs, and it doesn't come with any of the headaches or risks of owning a restaurant. Let's take a look at the Rainbow Plant Life YouTube channel hosted by Nisha Vora. Nisha is a lawyer who decided she didn't want to practice law anymore and wanted to start a YouTube cooking channel, a vegan cooking channel, and that's exactly what she did. And now Nisha has 1.5 million subscribers. So she's generating pretty good revenue through ads. You look at her videos, she's getting over 100,000 views per video, and usually somewhere between 200,000 and 300,000 per video. So she's generating decent revenue through ads. She also has a cookbook that she offers for sale. And she also has a meal planning service this is a subscription. So you sign up. This is a subscription model business where she continues to generate revenue. So she gets a customer and they sign up and they stay as a paying customer until they decide to leave. So she's started this YouTube channel and built quite a decent business for herself. This is way easier than working in a restaurant. She's making more money than the chefs and she's not doing any of the hard work that they're doing, working those crazy hours. Here's the Cowboy Kent Rollins YouTube channel. Cowboy Kent has 3.5 million subscribers, so he's going to be making decent revenue through ads. He also has products, and this is how you really make money. Same as with Nisha. The way you make money with a YouTube cooking channel is not through the ad revenue, but it's actually having a product or a service that you sell. Nisha has products and services. She has her cookbook is a product. Her meal planning subscription is a service. Cowboy Kent has a bunch of products on his website. He has spice blends. He has sauces. He has apparel, different merchandise. He has some kitchenware. This is his Dutch oven tool for cooking outside, because he does most of his recipes outside. He's cooking outside in his backyard. See, I'll pull one up. Probably any one of them, because he's always cooking in the backyard. Just like I said, he's always cooking out in the backyard. That's the theme of his show. And this is an example of how you can create a much better life for yourself as a chef with a cooking show on YouTube versus all of the headache and stress of running a restaurant. And the last one we'll take a look at is the Binging with Babbage YouTube channel. He's grown this channel to 10.5 million subscribers. And this guy is not a trained chef. He didn't go to culinary school. He just decided that he wanted to start a YouTube cooking channel. And now he's at 10.5 million subscribers. So he's making great money with ad revenue. But he also offers products and services. This is where you really make money. He has a membership community. That's a subscription service that you pay for. He has cookware that he sells. He has a cookbook that he sells. So he's monetizing his YouTube channel through products and services in addition to ad revenue. Those examples I've shown you are people who are making way more money than any restaurant owner, but with none of the headaches. They don't have to worry about food costs and staff and payroll and rent and insurance and licenses and on and on. And they have way more creative freedom than any chef in a restaurant. Instead of having to cook the same dishes over and over again all day, every day, YouTube chefs are able to get as creative as they want to be in the kitchen and share those dishes with the world. And you can still get industry recognition if that's important to you. Did you know that you can win a James Beard Award with a cooking show? Because you can. Look it up. YouTube is not a game. This is serious business, and it's a business that you don't have to sacrifice your life in order to participate in. You can start your cooking show with just your phone and less than $500 in lighting and audio equipment, and your YouTube cooking show is a lifestyle business where you can make $100,000 a year or more from cooking one dish per week in your home kitchen. This is a much better food business for most chefs to run because this is a food business that really is about your passion for food. You get to cook what you want, how you want, and you don't have to sacrifice your body or your personal life in order to do it. Does that sound like a better way for you to earn your living as a chef than running a restaurant? The internet isn't a good thing or a bad thing, chef. It's just a thing. The chefs who adapt to the internet and embrace the opportunities that it provides will do just fine. The chefs who keep acting like it's 1990 and the internet doesn't exist are going to continue to struggle because the internet is undefeated. You do not want to open a restaurant. Start a cooking show instead because that's the way to accomplish what you have in mind. What you have in your mind about running a restaurant is not what running a restaurant is really like, and it's not even close. But hosting your own cooking show, pretty much whatever picture you paint in your mind, that's exactly what you can do and make great money doing it. There are lots of ways you can make $100,000 a year or more from cooking one dish per week in your home kitchen, and I explain them all in this video. Thanks for watching, and if you want help getting your cooking show started, use the link in the description box.